Come on and get it right now.
Hello boys and girls, welcome to another edition of the Undead Zone. I am McLeod. I'm going to be hosting this. Unfortunately Eric is kind of ill this evening for reasons unknown, but he's feeling pretty poorly, so I'm hoping that he gets better soon, and that he's up for the task for Whiskey Gaming tomorrow, which will be really cool to see him and really cool to sort of check out. We have a lot of kind of cool things to talk about. In terms of H1Z1, but also talk about in terms of this particular show in general and what we're going to be doing with the show in the future. I have some cool guests with me. I have the one and only Space Mexican.
Yo, what's up?
I have a exceptionally awesome Brazilian known as Fode.
What's up, guys?
And I also have an aficionado, I would say an aficionado of the FPS genre of gaming, known only as Buffresh.
Yo.
Hey. So, dudes, I wanted to kind of get into a little bit of H1Z1 today. I know, Buff, you're kind of not really not that knowledgeable about H1Z1 as such. Like, have you played much H1Z1 before, Buff? Like,
I played it a lot at the start when Goons invaded. We took over like 7 servers or something.
Yeah,
it was pretty intense. I haven't played the latest patch, but I try and play it once a week or something at least.
Oh, that's pretty cool. When you say sort of every so often, like a little bit a week, are you talking about like King of the Kill, right? Rather than Just Survive.
Yeah, King of the Kill, sometimes Just Survive if I want to do base building. I prefer it a bit over like the Ark and Rust and all those other games, to be fair.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. That's totally cool. We're going to pull up the H1Z1 Reddit just for a moment. Let me just find it, and my thing is being really super loud, and I apologise for that. Just kind of sort this out. There we go. H1Z1, the H1Z1 Just Survive Reddit. Right. Essentially, this is like the portal for sort of getting the information, getting sort of the relatively up to date information, I would say, on Just Survive. Like, wouldn't you say that? Wouldn't you say so, Fode? I mean, do you tend to go to the Just Survive Reddit every so often, or how do you interact with that? Fode?
It's definitely the front page of the internet. I check Reddit definitely.
Yeah.
I'm definitely. I don't post, but I'm a long time lurker.
Right. Okay. So, right. Probably the most significant thing that has happened on Just Survive has been quite obviously the wipe. The new wipe cycle that has that basically happened on April 5th. You can just see that in the H1Z1 Reddit article just here. Essentially, I mean, it's a big thing on the Just Survive kind of calendar. Essentially, everybody just piles in, and it's essentially like a land grab, crazy land grab for the next kind of period, I would say. And along with that comes a bunch of fixes that the dev team want to roll out. The reason for the wipe is generally they tend to want to bring together or basically update the servers with a bunch of changes and a bunch of additions in order to, that essentially would either give someone an unfair advantage if they've built up a whole bunch of materials and resources, or affects certain things that requires the entire kind of build up of player resources to actually be removed because of a significant kind of change. So, let me just quickly grab Fode. He unfortunately just fell out. There you go, Fode. Hey, I dragged you back.
Sorry,
down.
guys.
It's all good, bro. I just started talking about the wipe. So
there was a wipe?
Yeah. So the wipe happened April 5th.
April 5th. That's like
April 5th.
like yesterday or something.
it was literally Wednesday. Thankfully
Wow.
they didn't wipe on. Thankfully they didn't wipe last Saturday, because that would have been that would have just been nasty. Like wiping or scheduling a wipe on April 1st, April Fool's Day, would have just been like tragic. Absolutely tragic. Like people would not know whether it was actually going to be a wipe or whether it was actually Daybreak Games trolling them. But we've got there was a bunch of fixes. They fixed the issue with decks and socketed items, and the fact that they also I think it was that they had oh no, that's the update. Sorry, that's the update. This is the actual Just Survive one. So they fixed the loot spawn cap fix, which kind of apparently was a thing. Apparently, things were spawning into the game more than they should be, which I'm sure nobody complained about in any way, shape, or form. But for whatever reason, Daybreak kind of seemed as though that was an issue. Repair boxes have been removed. I'm fairly certain that nobody ever used repair boxes properly. I don't know about you, Fode. Like, did you guys use repair boxes quite a lot? Like, for the actual use?
Never use this, because you expend a lot of materials to repair base, and with a hammer you do the same job,
Same job for like no resources. And even if the hammer breaks, I mean, it only costs you one stick. One stick
and one metal bar, easy.
And it's not practical, especially when you got multiple guys usually online, or at least a couple guys on every day. It's not, it's kind of
exactly
a waste of time.
It is. It's totally a waste of time. But so repair boxes were removed, and one of the other kind of reasons why the repair boxes were removed as well were because they were actually you couldn't damage them as well. So a lot of people were using repair boxes to basically perma keep their bases and base like locations. So you couldn't take over areas. You could blow up areas and kill bases, kill off bases and stuff like that. But people couldn't just come up and repair them and rebuild them, kind of thing. So there was no way of being able to, you couldn't invade an area once someone had placed a whole bunch of tampers or a whole bunch of decks there, unless you actually, camp them 24 hours a day, essentially. So they were removed. This is the really strange one. This is kind of, I mean, I kind of get what they're coming from here, but the way that they kind of worded this is really strange. They said crowbars are no longer repairable, and they said this too was another legacy bug that they were able to address. Okay. The strange thing is, right?
I hate this update personally.
It's kind of. I find it really strange how, practically the only thing that people were using weapon repair kits on were not for weapons; they were for crowbars. I mean, they were kind of misnamed, but you also you also could make gun repair kits, which were very accurately named for guns. And bearing in mind that virtually nobody used melee weapons, for the most part. It made you sort of think to yourself well, the only reason for the weapon repair kits is to repair crowbars, so you can carry on crowbarring stuff and getting materials so you can build bases. And the strange way of them saying that that it was a bug that you could repair them, when I'm gonna guesstimate here, but the majority of people actually repaired crowbars with them and nothing else. Find it really odd how they claim it to be a bug when it seemed very intentional.
Honestly, it's my belief that the real players of the game don't put as much input or feedback and play the game at that level, and there's a gap between there's knowledge information between Daybreak and what the players actually how they actually play the game. Especially at the max level, when you got big groups and efficiencies. I just don't think they fully understand how they play, because if they did, you're 100% right. They would have just eliminated those. They're useless. You don't use them, You just don't.
Yeah, totally. So that was a really strange kind of thing. Like, and I'm not entirely certain whether I'm happy about that, because it makes weapon repair kits completely useless. Like, you're not going to use them anywhere else. They did some base fixes, which is like non-socketed items will no longer prevent decks from despawning. Basically, like, sort of really hard to damage things, like storage containers. Like furnaces and dew collectors maybe not so much, but like storage containers I know are quite difficult to damage. They took a lot of explosives to take out. Socketed base items, which are things like gates, shelters, you know, that kind of thing, walls, all that kind of stuff. They can't be, you can't place them to penetrate other things anymore. I'm not sure, Fode, have you guys been able to try out like basically putting shelters within shelters when you drop them at the same time? Is that still a possibility?
I can't say this today because I'm building now decks and metal gates. I will start to put large shelters and other things today or tomorrow, you know. So okay, I can talk about this now. But I try put the stairs together, you know, in the same spot. And I can't insert the stairs in the same expansion, you know.
Oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's
for try build the kind of base you put furnaces, you know, bugged inside the metal gates for just block.
Yeah, I get you. So yeah, so there's that, and hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit of clarification maybe a little later on whether you can still put like a small shelter within a large shelter sort of thing. But they've also said that stairs and ramps can no longer be placed in a way that creates unraidable bases, and I imagine what they mean there is when you actually invert the staircase or the sort of the ramps to actually go inside of some other inside of either the base that you're building or another base that that's like next to it, that kind of thing. Essentially what people used to be doing with that was essentially placing a lip on the side of one of their bases and putting a whole bunch of containers and, you know, various different things on that lip to be able to prevent you to actually jump into there and create kind of like a buffer between that and the actual wall that they were trying to protect. So there's that. And then there's obviously they've addressed a few crash to desktop fixes and some exploit logging and anti-cheat sort of stuff. So, you know, the usual kind of thing, usual kind of stuff at the end. And obviously they've done an April 7th kind of update to that where they've basically, we fixed an issue where the deck and socketed a deck with socketed items built on a tamper that has no socketed items would despawn along with the tamper. So essentially, like, you know, if you built a ground tamp, put nothing on that ground tamp, but put a deck down and then built all of that in an hour, when the ground tamp wouldn't register the deck on the actual ground tamp, and so the ground tamp would despawn, and essentially when the ground tamp would despawn, the entirety of the other base, the other deck, and everything on top of it would despawn along with it, which kind of sucks. I would say that's a bit of an oversight, wouldn't you say that, Fode?
Yeah, we tried this before this update, and we put a ground tamper, and next we put on deck foundation on top, and just one metal gate on top of the deck foundation. And 1 hour later, the deck just despawned. You know, the deck and ground tamper, everything despawned. And we try again next to the update, and put the ground tamper, put the deck foundation, put the metal gate, the same thing, and the deck is right there in the same place.
Nice.
Do they still got double shelters? You can throw down double shelters?
Yeah, I can't speak about this now. I will do this today or tomorrow, and I let you guys know, you know.
Yeah, I
thought that was pretty cool when I figured out that you could do that. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, like
I think it's possible. Okay, I think it's possible because I put large shelter on top the metal gate in another deck. It's possible you put large shelter inside large shelter if this large shelter is in different deck foundations, you know.
Yeah.
But in the same deck foundation, I think it's not possible more.
I see. So that's basically, you know, what they've kind of done. Like, the only other kind of thing that they've done with that is they had an issue on the London EU server, and apparently there's been there's been people who've been complaining about the sort of same thing on other servers, but you know, whether that is, a lot of the Daybreak kind of stuff say that it's not valid really, but like essentially the London EU server loot spawn was not happening correctly. They've resolved that, but unrelated to all of that, there's been some server issues with the Aussie Ghana guys, which really sucks, especially considering, you know, their sort of time zone is really awkward to kind of deal with. So, you know, they're just not kind of, they've been saying that they're going to be dealing with that, which is fairly good. Some of the other kind of news that have been going out. This is kind of funny. Like, I don't know how you would react to this, vote, but like one of the Daybreak kind of devs, essentially Mitch Evans, he has apparently found the falling through an object during login bug that I'm sure you guys have experienced in some way, shape, or form. I know I've experienced it before, right? That would cause people to fall on their bases or into the basements of, or into the basement of the police station. You've experienced this, right? You've experienced this bug. I know that Space Max has. I'm fairly certain Space Max has.
Is that on Survive or King of the Kill?
On just Survive, like when you log in.
Oh yeah. I still, even the last server wipe, I was experiencing multiple times when I fell through the map.
Yeah.
Which was kind of annoying, and I didn't even die. There's a couple times I fell through the map and didn't die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not sure about falling through the actual sort of the map sort of thing, but this is specifically about falling underneath bases. And specifically, like if you logged out and logged back in the police station, say in PV, and you'd log in, you'd be in the basement of the PV of the police station, that kind of thing.
I've experienced that a couple times.
So apparently Mitch has found that bug, and they're addressing that bug as well. The only issue with that bug, with addressing that bug, is the fact that a lot of people have been utilizing that specific bug as a way to get out of another bug where gates would swing you into and through shelters and get you trapped inside of a base, inside of your own base. Essentially you get thrown through a wall into a shelter, or into a large shelter that doesn't really have any kind of exit because it's been built as a filler or built as some kind of thing. And people have been using basically that bug to be able to log out, log in, be underneath the base, underneath the base, or in the sort of the skirt kind of area of the base, and then get thrown out of it via game mechanics. Essentially, what happened there is, like, you know, they're essentially utilizing a bug to fix another bug, or to basically reduce the impact of another bug. And unfortunately, Mitch has found one of the bugs, and has been able to solve for that. Whether that's already been implemented, I'm not entirely certain. I don't think it has, but if it does, then people are going to get stuck in bases and are going to have to basically kill themselves, and there's going to be so many tears for that.
Well, I think the some of the bigger things was just in general, you know, the kind of bugs that we're talking about.
Yeah. In
my mind, they're not, you know, they're kind of annoying bugs, but it's like, in my mind, they should be cleaned up by now. And I don't know if they're gonna, you know, I have a feeling that when they come out with the new map, which I'm saying is probably going to be mid summertime.
Yeah.
If a lot of that's going to be cured, you know, because this game's been out for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people are waiting for, just for an actual clear game, kind of like what you got with King of the Kill. You know what I mean? Because yeah, the little bugs are annoying. Honestly, when I play Survive, the little bugs don't bother me because they're not frequent. You know, they're not reoccurring bugs that are happening.
Yeah,
where they're killing my gameplay. You know,
I get that. Yeah, definitely, I definitely get that. One of the things that that Euphoric actually has pointed out about this particular bug is hopefully that also solves the objects falling through decks as well, which would also mean that the issue of having cars on your deck and then logging in and finding out that your car is actually underneath the deck, but you can't get at it. You just have to wait for it to blow up. Hopefully that gets fixed, and hopefully that'll be, you know, basically the sort of the silver lining of the cloud for this particular fix.
Yesterday we lose 2 cars.
Yeah, so a lot of
Yesterday
people
my club lose 2 cars because the car go under the deck, and we lose,
You know
we
what?
lose loot inside the decks. The cars too. It's insane.
From what I saw, cars just weren't an issue because they just respawn so frequently. You know what I mean?
They do
Yeah,
respawn.
cars
think-
not the problem.
Yeah.
But two new bugs. It's insane, cara. Like when you PvP with somebody and the guy have a lot of loot, the guy just do Alt Enter and Alt F4 and close the game instantaneously. And the game
Really?
closed and the guy just left the server and that's it. The guy disappear in front of you.
Yeah, but I do that too. I play in Windows mode, and when I kill my game, I instantly log out.
Yeah, there's been
Yeah, for sure. I
I've
tried
seen many
PvP
people
today, and people do this all time.
I've seen many people actually do that same particular trick to basically, you know, get themselves out of situations very, very quickly. Whether it's worthwhile actually kind of doing, well, I mean, it's obviously worthwhile, but whether it's worthwhile fixing or not, I'm not entirely certain. I do kind of feel like, at least in a game that a few other people play who kind of watch these sort of streams, Eve, like in Eve, when you're engaged or when you've been dealing in some kind of player versus player kind of activity, you tend to sort of get a sort of a timer where you can't actually, if you log off, you stay in the game. Like some kind of mechanic like that would actually be quite handy. Like if you are actually engaged,
Right.
like if you've been shot at, like I mean, it's kind of questionable as to what, you know, how you could actually program, you know, something to say that you're getting shot at or that. Like, I mean, maybe if you got hit or if you've shot at anybody within a certain time frame, you can't say log out for like 2 minutes, for example. You know, that, I mean, I can see something like that maybe working, maybe helping out in that kind of situation. But like at the moment, it's somewhat legitimate. Like it uses, I mean, it's not perfect, it's not great, but like, you know, they built the system to be able to, for you to be able to do that, I guess. So
Yeah, all these bugs are okay for play, you know, but another new bug, it's insane. The people just delete one folder inside the folder of the game and don't see more trees, don't see more rocks, you shooting everybody, you see everybody behind the trees, behind the rocks. It's insane, man.
yeah, that I would say now that is actually a proper exploit, and that's something that they should actually, you know, definitely they should definitely clamp down on, because that's what I would consider to be close to actually going in and actually changing the game, like the game files, the game kind of structure in a way that like you shouldn't be able to, in order to get an
one
advantage.
Chinese guy yesterday killed like 12 guys doing this.
Yeah, that's just not on. Like, you know, you don't expect to get shot through a rock. You don't expect to get shot through a tree. You know, there are some aspects of playing an FPS game that you expect to make sense, make logical kind of sense, right? And getting shot through trees and getting shot through rocks is just not a good kind of way of going about that. So yeah, so that's the kind of pretty much the Just Survive kind of updates that has been kind of going on. As for just general kind of updates, like I've been kind of meaning to, I wonder whether kind of looking for a particular dude who tends to do videos quite often. I'm not entirely certain whether he's, oh Christ, I apologise, hang on.
You must be driving a police car.
A little bit. there's a particular dude who does like videos for Just Survive and for King of the Kill. He tends to sort of do sort of updates to sort of like just basically kind of sort of goes through the updates and this, that and the other, and like I've been meaning to play a few of his videos, and hopefully at some point when he does one for the new Just Survive update, that'd be really, really cool. I'm trying to find him right here. I'm not entirely certain whether I can.
Mac.
Yeah?
I appreciate your invite, bro, but I gotta go now.
Oh, no, that's cool, man. That's cool. That's totally fine. But thank you very much for coming on to the show, Fode.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure.
See you guys.
See you, buddy. So yeah, moving on to King of the Kill. We've had a game update. That's also been essentially the stuff that they've been kind of toying about with on the test server has kind of been pushed up onto the to the main game. We quickly jump and take a look at the game update here. So it's basically team follow, camera, and hit feedback. So we've got the follow cam at long last, and you know, I'm sure that a lot of people have been enjoying using the follow cam. I haven't had a chance to yet. I want to have a few games with SpaceMax using the follow cam and stuff like that, because typically I probably die first.
Huh.
So it's basically it duo survives. Once one of your players gets eliminated, then they can spectate. They can change the camera toggles. They can change the view. So they're not specifically tied down to the view that the player that they're spectating has, which is really cool. All team members have unique outline colors, which is really cool. There's a lot of new information actually on the team games that you didn't get before. You know, sort of like gun status, armor status. Like you can actually see like whether certain members of your team have armor on, have helmets on, where their health is, what kind of gun they have out, as such, which is kind of strange. Like, you know, I wasn't entirely certain why that would be there. Like, but you know, I guess more information is better. But yeah, there's also the other kind of cool thing is especially in terms of teams, that you actually get a like information as to how many teams are remaining, as well as how many players are remaining. So instead of because it's always been a case of like when you're getting near to the end trying to figure out how many teams you're playing against, or you know, that kind of thing. It's always been kind of guesswork when you see like you know, sort of 13 players remaining kind of thing, and you're like, oh Christ,
yeah.
how many teams are that, how many individuals are there, how many groups are still there?
Well, yeah, when you got 10 people
really
left and there's 3 in your group, it'd be good to know that there's 2 or 3 teams left, and then
yeah,
you can figure someone's running solo or something.
I mean, there's still room in there for a bit of guesswork. You know, if you've got like 15 people remaining, then there's only like, you know, 6 groups there. You know, there could be, you know, there could be groups of 3s, there could be groups of 4s, there could be groups of 2s there. Like, you know, there's still room for kind of information to be a little bit vague, which is pretty good. Like, you know, if it was really, really obvious, then, you know, you could kind of be like, I don't know, that's a bit too much information. But I kind of feel like it's just vague enough, especially in the midterm, like mid to end kind of part of the game. Like right at the end, right at the end of the game, like it probably benefits like the team who has less, or the group that has less people, because then they know that they're up against like, you know, a stronger team, so they can kind of, you know, work strategies out for that kind of thing. The other kind of thing is they've also introduced obviously new regions, the East Coast servers in North America, which is really, really good. That has really helped. That's really helped me a lot as well. Mainly because they've introduced ping locks for certain servers now. Like if you, I think is this right space? Like you get past 150 something and 150 milliseconds, and you're basically ping locked out of those servers.
Yeah, it sorts you by your ping, so
Yeah.
it won't let you go into servers if your ping's too high, which will eliminate a lot of the issues people were having. Which I think is why the servers are running a lot better as well.
Yeah, I think to some extent people have been kind of enjoying the fact that like they're not playing against people with insane pings. There's been rumors of like Chinese people and Chinese players and players from the other side of literally the other side of the globe using proxies and VPNs to be able to play on North American servers by basically having the ping from the VPN to the actual game servers be the ping that is shown up rather than their ping to the VPN kind of thing. So that's something that I think Daybreak might have to investigate and potentially problem solve in some way, shape or form.
Right.
But in terms of having the East Coast servers there, I'm really happy about that because being in the UK, I have friends who I like playing.
It helps.
Yeah, I have friends who I like playing who live in America, like Space Max here. And it would suck if Space wanted to play a group game and I couldn't play it because of my ping to West Coast servers. And thankfully East Coast servers are there that we can play, and I've got a fairly decent ping to, like sub 100, which is good.
Yeah, it's great to be able to play like halfway from where I'm at in California to halfway to you on the East Coast.
Yeah. And so they've also, the other kind of things that they've done is they've done the vehicle updates. They now lose performance when they take damage. I'm not entirely certain whether they did. Do you know whether they actually put through the UI kind of changes?
Yeah, the UI changes are in there. On the vehicles, definitely take a lot more damage. They're more sensitive, like to the typical bumps and the hits. You know what I mean? That you would take just due to the terrain. The cars definitely take a lot more damage just from the terrain. So normally like me, I'm usually ride or die, just hitting big jumps. But those big jumps now, even dropping your vehicle from 20 feet in the sky, is going to do significant damage. Yeah.
Really.
I haven't gotten a car down to supposedly once you get it down to a certain percentage, your mechanics of the vehicle stop working. So it's harder to steer, it's harder to it doesn't go as fast, things like that.
Well, they say
I haven't experienced that yet.
Yeah, it's basically like kind of when you start sort of like actually seeing flames come out of the car. Essentially, what they say is like you get a reduction, like a torque, the torque reduction. Essentially, like your ability to be able to accelerate is reduced significantly, and it takes damage over time. At 35%, you lose your turbo. So like once you drop below 35, your turbo is basically broken, essentially. So that's that.
Right. I mean, overall, the game itself seems way better. I mean,
plays better.
It plays way better. It's cleaner, it's faster, reaction times are better. I mean, the only thing the only update part that I hear a lot of negative and kind of a mixed review is the hit markers, the new hit marker system. It definitely is more distracting, at least for myself. I thought it was like something I just have to get used to see, to see the benefit, but it's definitely more of a distraction than it is a helper. I mean, I see the color indicator, but the fact that the hit marker flashes in front of your face on the target, it distracts your eyes from when the target's moving. So I find it a lot harder for myself to stay focused on a target when the hit marker keeps flashing on my screen.
No, I get that.
I'm playing to see if I eventually get used to it, to see if there is eventually a benefit of it, or an advantage. But so far I prefer the old system of actually, I would rather have it where it's the sounds. There's different sounds for what you hit, because then my visual doesn't mix with my hearing. And I feel like my brain can easily differentiate between the two when I'm looking at a target and then I'm hearing something and I know what I'm hitting. So it's just so that's about the only thing I find distracting. The game mechanics are a lot. easier. I'm landing a lot more hit targets, but I just, like I said, I find it harder for my eyes to stay focused on targets when they're jumping around and moving versus the last update. I didn't have as much difficulties with.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. So I was just gonna fire up a little quick thing of King of the Kill because, as you said, like the hit marker kind of aspects of that, like they did say, or at least initially on the test server, they did have a situation where you could actually change the hit markers to be traditional, but still have the different differentiations in color.
Oh,
so I just
okay.
wanted to quickly check that to make sure.
Yeah, that would be awesome if you could.
So,
if that's valid, because man, I would
quickly-
definitely do that.
I'm going to quickly take a look at that. Here we go.
The other, while you're doing that, the other update they have that I is, you know, in the shade, they've definitely tweaked a little bit of how dark it is. So I noticed like when people are walking under bridges or walking under something that has shade covering, they're definitely a little bit harder to identify and at least, you know, see. And then inside warehouses, at least for me, it's slightly darker. But as I've been watching streams on Twitch, it's been mixed reviews. Some people are saying it's too dark. Some people are saying it's not that bad. I actually like it. It's a little bit darker, so it's harder to identify when people are in there, which is an advantage if you're in a warehouse and people.
Well, that most definitely is. Yeah, it most definitely is. So I'm just going to quickly check this. So yeah, there is a set option. There is options in the settings where it says use classic hit feedback. So you can kind of see whether that's off and on. I'll quickly jump into something that's very easy to deal with, just to check that kind of thing. Which is the like if you've ever done this, gone into the training kind of area.
I have, yeah.
So it's kind of strange. It's kind of like it's sort of like a hybridy, almost like a King of the Kill style H1's like Just Survive Nomad kind of server. Like do you remember when they were talking about the Nomad server where you couldn't build anything but you could still go around and collect loot and stuff like that? Like it's kind of like that. It's sort of very strange. It's sort of like a Just Survive Nomad server but with the new map and with the new kind of things. We're just going to quickly go around, find a couple of guns maybe, and see if we can figure out that hit mark kind of thing. But
I mean, but overall, I say the update is definitely a success. I would say, just for my gameplay so far.
I would say so. Yeah.
I haven't seen anything that's like, you know, a bug or an issue. I think they've definitely cleaned it up a lot. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna want to play a lot more doubles and fives. I think that'd be awesome to be able to spectate.
I think most definitely that'd be pretty good. But I don't know whether we'll be able to find a particular car kind of thing. See if we can actually get some. I'm just making a bit of a racket, bit of a noise around here, just to see if I can get somebody to try and shoot at me, so I can shoot at them. I'm probably going to get shot in the head, and that's all fair enough. But you know, that's what it is. They've also kind of apparently there was a tweet. I just saw a 44 round like laying on the ground. Like apparently they've also changed and sort of tweaked a little bit the
ammo boxes.
They've definitely done the ammo box. They've changed the ammo boxes for various different things, so you can kind of tell the difference between various different ammo types.
Right.
You kind of need
visual.
Yeah, just literally visually, so you can see which you know, like you can definitely tell the difference between, like, say, like in the strange event that someone would drop a 308 round next to a 380 round, for example. Like you would be able to tell the difference between the two visually just from there. Like it wouldn't be like how we see it here, where this is the 380 round, but like, you know, a 308 round look exactly the same. But essentially the hip markers, they're I need someone else to be in here so I can shoot them, so I can see the hip markers. That's the thing. Either that or find a car. I need to find a car, but they're rare as really rare as fuck over here. Anyway, I'm just going to run down this street, and we're going to carry on talking about random things. So this polynomic, this is actually King of the Kill. We did start off talking about Just Survive. There's been some updates on Just Survive. There's been some updates on King of the Kill as well. But either way, this is H1Z1 as such. But yeah, they've definitely got they definitely have the changes on in the using classic hit feedback and using the like the actual new hit feedback. So that's definitely there. If you haven't seen the classic hit feedback versus the tradition versus the new hit feedback, like I'm sure there's plenty of videos that show the classic hit feedback. The new hit feedback, I'm just going to quickly see if I can find a video for that.
So they do give you the option to go to classic.
They do give you the option to go to classic, definitely, which is really
Nice.
really good. Let's see if I can find the. It'll probably be under news actually on the Nomad Crate. Oh, that's funny, Nomad Crate. Where's Chris Wynn? Hit marker choices. Yeah, it says hit marker choices. New hit marker feedback. We're going to add an option to use the current hit marker instead of the new, but with the new color codings. So you know you get all the joys of having the new color codings, which is basically if you hit a car. Unfortunately, it doesn't show it with static cars, but like actual drivable cars, when you shoot them, the actual hit mark will go white to show that you hit a car, like hit a an actual player car. And there's a guy here, and I run out of rounds. Lol. Typical. I find a guy. Space, typical. I find a guy and I fucking run out of rounds. That's my luck. That's always
Amateur,
my luck.
dude. Amateur.
It is an amateur mistake right there and then. Let's fucking find a 9mm anywhere. Ugh. But yeah. So if you oh great, a 380. That's really going to help. So yeah, if you hit a car, it's going to be white. If you hit the armor.
It's yellow, right?
It's yellow, yeah. So
yeah, I guess I did. Like I said, I think I just got used to just the sounds, you know, and just knowing when I heard certain sounds what that meant. So, yeah, I was playing earlier today, and it was just like all kinds of just different color splats on my screen.
Well, that didn't really show the hit markers off, but even so, let's just jump back out of this. And so, 10 minutes to go. I'm going to quickly talk about how the Undead Zone is actually going to be changing. As this might come as news to you, Space. Not entirely certain. But essentially, what we're going to be changing the Undead Zone to is less of an undead, like, you know, basically zombies kind of show, like talking about zombies and zombie games and zombie survival games. It's going to be more about a generalized FPS show. So it's going to basically, we're going to be able to incorporate a whole lot more games, a whole lot more content, a whole lot more news, and a whole lot more kind of like, you know, happening kind of things. So we can talk about, you know, things like about, you know, Buff's favorite game, CS:GO.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll love to sort of come on and talk about CS:GO and sort of the things that have been happening there. We can talk about things like PlanetSide 2, which I'm sure Spanx would be able to come on and, you know, talk about that. And I know that we've got like there's been some like really kind of cool stuff, at least in game kind of happening with, you know, like content wise. I mean, for God's sake, the PlanetSide PlanetSide 2 has recently got planetary bombardment on there now. Like, you can call in orbital airstrikes in PlanetSide 2 now, which is just fucking awesome.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome. So you got that. And you also have like you can talk about a whole bunch of stuff. Like, you can talk about we'll be able to talk about what do you call it? You know, sort of like the new kind of the new sort of battle royale style game that we were talking about like last week. A little bit about PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, like that, which is like blowing up on Twitch right now, which is really cool. But essentially, like, it's going to be all encompassing. We can talk about a whole bunch of stuff. So, you know, and I mean, not even just that, but we can also talk about, you know, sort of like the hardware kind of aspects of like sort of playing FPS games. Like, if like new kind of new hardware comes out, like I mean, you know, anything that gives people an edge in FPS games, you know, like new mice, new keyboards, new FPS monitors. Like, you know, if you want to have that, like, you know, 144 hertz monitor, or, you know, like the crazy, like, I think they're developing 8K monitors now in some way, shape or form, like, or 8K TVs at least. They've got a monitor that goes up to a ridiculous refresh rate, you know, in case you actually wanted that sort of thing. I think it's like sort of like 300, I can't remember what it was, like highest FPS, like FPS refresh rate monitor is just insane.
Right.
There's also and to go with that, in actual fact, there is a new game. Like, we could talk about a few things. Like, I know that Buff at the moment is probably right now playing a game called Squad. If you've ever heard of it, Space.
No, what's that game?
So Squad is basically, it's a squad-based FPS sort of army simulator kind of game.
All right.
Like, essentially a little bit like Arma 2 or Arma 3, more like that sort of kind of game. But essentially, it's like a 50-on-50 in a very large sort of styled map, and you have to you know, go and achieve certain objectives, this, that, and the other. But it looks really pretty cool. I actually did download it, and the reason why I'm talking about it now, like this, in this particular show, is kind of to tie into the fact that, like, you know, we're going to be changing it up a bit, but also about the fact that, for at least from what I know of today, it is free to play today. They do, like, every so often they do like a limited amount of, like, a limited free to play kind of day, or a few days, or like a weekend kind of thing. And today you can go to Steam and download it and play it for free, which is really cool. I think it's really, really awesome. So you can go there, download it, try it out, see what you think about it. And yeah, and it's, I mean, from what I've seen, I'm going to quickly pull up some videos of Squad. I can actually see my keyboard.
Yeah, I linked it in chat.
Nice, buddy. Nice. I want to see if I can get some decent kind of view of it. But essentially, yeah, there we go. If I just tidy this up a little bit. Sorry, I'm kind of talking about random stuff. But yeah. So I'm just playing a little bit of. I'm just showing a little bit of Squad gameplay, as it were, on the stream at the moment. But we can talk about Squad. Like, I mean, you've been playing a lot more Squad than me. Like, totally, Buff. So, like, how do you rate it? How do you rate the game?
It's really good. It's just like Armor in a sense, where you get to, like, run around and you have squads. You have, like, everyone can make their own squad, And once you have enough people in your squad, you can start developing your squad a bit more. You can put down like spawn points. You can build like a sort of semi base, and they've just like it's just quite amazing how you can build the base. You put down like a base structure, and then your players in your squad will build it for you. And then you can build like fortifications, mounted machine guns. And like some of the stuff people do, the way they build them in places is amazing. It's really good, good tactics and stuff. I was just playing it earlier with a couple of people actually. It's really intense. I want to call it, what is it? Running with Soldier Simulator.
Yeah, so it's like a soldier simulator, really, isn't it? It's kind of.
Yeah, but it is still really good. Like the combat, once you get into those firefights, it's really intense.
Yeah, because they have some really cool effects, especially like the suppressive effects when you have like bullets flying close to you and stuff like that. I remember seeing those kind of effects for the first time on Squad and being like, that is actually really cool. That's like really genuinely like awesome kind of effects. Like they've really done a lot of cool stuff on this game.
Yeah, the class system is good as well. They've taken like a bit of everything from every game. Like you've got a class system, a bit like Battlefield. I've just been mainly playing the medic myself to give everyone else a boost and save them. It's so intense, just trying to like save people while under fire and suppressed. It's quite good though. Like definitely, you get they've just added some vehicles as well. You get some like tanks and APCs and like.
I think they're cool. Yeah. You know what I find actually quite interesting about it is the lack of clutter on the screen for a shooter. If you know what I mean, like you see these things like Battlefields and like especially like for Call of Duty, that kind of thing. Like there is tons and tons of stuff on the screen just vying for your attention. They like like a mini map and all the names and everything like that, just like shouting out at you. But like I'm looking at Squad right now, and it's like literally it's so minimalistic.
It's more realistic.
It's minimalistic. There's very little on the screen that's like constantly asking for your attention.
Yeah, like a lot of the more games like Battlefield and Arm and that, they're so overview intensive. It takes away a bit much from the game, but this is very clean and fresh and just simple to get into, point and shoot.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, that'll have to wrap it up for today. Coming next is what everyone probably wants to be watching, looking at this particular time, the Meta Show with the Big Red Boat, and I think he's got a few guests as well. So like, he'll be here in just a moment. So thank you very much.
Come on and get it right now.